Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling something you've absolutely seen everywhere, the infamous crazy cat lady myth. I'm super excited to guide you through this because we're going to look at what history and science actually say about it. You know, we've all heard the punchlines, but today, we're pushing past the jokes. We're going to use real data, historical context, and behavioral science to completely deconstruct this trope piece by piece. Let's get right into it.
So where did this whole idea actually come from? I mean, we've all heard the jokes being casually tossed around for decades, but as we pull back the layers here, it gets really fascinating. The research actually shows that this whole concept says way more about society's historical baggage than it does about the actual people who, well, just happen to love cats. To understand why, we've got to first look at what the stereotype actually claims.
You know the pop culture image, right? Lonely, eccentric, unmarried, totally isolated, maybe in a house absolutely packed with cats. It's a super heavy-handed caricature that literally shows up everywhere, from hit movies to everyday conversations. But here's the thing. When you actually anchor yourself in the facts, you realize this modern image is a total distortion. It's basically a twisted version of a really profound, age-old relationship between humans and felines.
Which brings us to our first major shift. Section 1. From goddesses to witches, the historical twist.
What's wild about this is the dramatic fall from grace chronologically. Thousands of years ago in ancient times, cats were completely revered. They were tied directly to powerful female deities and seen as these amazing symbols of divine power, protection, and wisdom. But then, enter the Middle Ages, and we see a massive, dark shift. Fears around witchcraft completely hijacked the public image of cats, especially black ones, and the independent women who kept them. And over centuries, that intense fear basically just devolved into the modern punchline we see today.
Basically, the modern stereotype was born in the Middle Ages. Back then, women who lived outside traditional social expectations were viewed with intense suspicion. If a woman was independent, unmarried, or just doing her own thing, society inherently didn't trust her. So you pair an independent woman with a cat, an animal newly branded as a symbol of witchcraft, and boom, you've got a recipe for vilification. The crazy cat lady isn't a modern thing at all. Its roots are deeply, deeply embedded in some pretty harsh historical prejudices against independent women.
Bringing it back to the present day, let's explore Section 2, the independence connection, behavioral reality. Why do cats and independence go together so naturally anyway?
This comparison totally hits the nail on the head. Think about it. On one side, you have dogs, highly social, super eager to please. On the other side, you have cats. They're highly self-reliant, and they make you earn their trust gradually. Unlike dogs, cats build relationships completely on their own terms. They don't demand your constant attention. For a lot of people, that creates an incredibly unique and rewarding bond. It naturally appeals to folks who really value their personal space and respect boundaries.
Just think about the definition of self-reliant for a second. Relying on your own powers and resources. Researchers point out that because cats are self-reliant, they naturally attract humans who share that exact same vibe. Enjoying an animal that doesn't need you 24/7 doesn't make you antisocial, right? Can we agree it simply reflects a different style of companionship? It's a relationship built on mutual respect for independence rather than a constant need for validation.
So, what happens when we throw some hard science into the mix? Let's jump to Section 3. Science debunks the myth, the reality of loneliness.
The actual research completely crushes the loneliness myth. Studies on pet ownership find virtually zero evidence that cat owners are isolated. Instead, cats provide these massive, proven emotional benefits. We're talking vital companionship, comfort during stressful times, and a great sense of daily routine. Plus, just the simple act of petting a cat promotes physical relaxation. Studies even show a cat's purr can have actual physiological stress-relieving effects. Having this emotional support doesn't mean a person lacks human relationships. It's just a fantastic added layer of connection in their lives.
Actually, science paints a totally different picture of the typical cat owner. Research shows they tend to score really high in traits like self-reliance, curiosity, and openness to new experiences. So, far from being unstable or eccentric, if you love cats, the data suggests you're probably deeply curious, super open-minded, and comfortably independent. That is literally the complete opposite of the pop culture punchline we started with.
So who is actually keeping cats these days? Let's look at Section 4, the modern cat lover, reframing the stereotype. That old, isolated image, it's being rapidly replaced by a beautifully diverse reality. Today's cat enthusiasts are literally everyone. Men, women, bustling families, retirees, young professionals. They come from every age group and lifestyle you can think of. Plus, communities supporting rescue organizations and sanctuaries have totally exploded in popularity, bringing in people from all walks of life. Just open social media and you'll see millions of people proudly sharing their pets. The old stereotype just doesn't fit the massive reality of who actually owns cats today.
And this brings us to a really grounding truth. Loving cats reflects empathy, compassion, and just a genuine appreciation for fascinating animals. At the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing eccentric about it. Cats have been hanging out with humans for thousands of years, offering companionship and affection in their own quiet, unique way. Caring for them simply shows a profound sense of human empathy and a connection to the natural world.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. Is the stereotype really about cats, or is it actually about society's discomfort with independent women choosing their own path? Despite how much times have changed, the trope sticks around. Pop culture keeps repeating it because, well, stereotypes are just easier to repeat than to challenge. But as experts point out, someone who is fiercely independent and perfectly content with their own company can sometimes just be misunderstood by a society that expects them to follow a much more traditional path. So the next time you hear a crazy cat lady joke, remember what we talked about today. The reality is so much more fascinating than the myth. Thanks for exploring this with me, and keep questioning the assumptions around you.